the Mahoning Valley Daily Podcast.
Thank you very much, everybody, for tuning in to this episode of the Mahoning Valley Daily Podcast. This is going to be our Halloween weekend edition of the show, so I want you guys to all have fun while you're out there trick-or-treating. Make sure you load up the car and get into the richest neighborhood that you know of and bring home all those king-size candy bars. Always use caution when opening possibly dangerous and or notoriously boring candy like raisins. And parents, also be sure, impose at least a 20% surcharge and storage fee on said candy from the children. They certainly do not need it all. Today on the show, I wanted to let you know one thing that's going on locally. There is now a fundraiser going on through the Penguin City Beer Company. They have a GoFundMe that got started for Miss Krista Harrison. She is a 17-year-old who was a victim of shooting on the South Side in May. She is now paralyzed, and she is in need of a wheelchair so that she can leave the hospital. So these guys started a GoFundMe, and I believe they're already up to over $13,000 in just a couple days. So if you can, please go hop on any of their social media websites and help out in any way you can. I know that they're giving away a lot of prize packs for the winners, and they're going to have a lot of raffles, and other companies from around the area have jumped in with them. So check that out. Today on the show, we have Luke Schuster, one of the MLO Bros, and we want to thank him very much for coming on because we want to talk to him not only about his show and about his company, but also about some of the things that he has been covering in depth with some of the key players in our community. So Luke, thank you very much for being on the show.
Thank you, sir. I appreciate the invite. Like I said, Isaac is mad at both of us for not doing this with him, but he's actually doing our real job as loan officer, so he'll get over it. He's all right.
Absolutely. So we're just going to be two silly guys talking about serious things here while he's actually making bacon.
Exactly.
No worries.
Exactly.
Cool. Well, it's good you guys can do it as a team. I think it's really fun that you guys have that dynamic, that you're able to at least bring around a partner wherever you go. I'm sitting here by myself, throwing jokes off the wall, and I might like him, but that don't matter.
Yeah, it definitely helped. We've actually talked about that, where like one of us was like busy, or it's harder to do a show by yourself for sure, because then you're kind of, like you said, you're joking around. There's no one to go back and forth with. So I don't know if I can pull it off.
That's all right. You guys do great. So tell me a little bit, for those who don't know you, you guys have a pretty good social media following right now, but this podcast thing is not your main gig. You guys are mortgage loan officers, is that correct? That's where the MLO comes from.
That's it, and not a lot of people I think realize that. You know, we'll have people say, "Oh, you're the Milo brothers," or the it's kind of funny, but yeah, we're loan officers first. I've been a loan officer for probably almost 20 years now, since I was in my early 20s, and I opened a branch 2 years ago in Poland, my own branch for Nationwide Mortgage. So it's kind of like my branch, but we work for them.
Yeah.
And it's kind of like the insurance gig where you have an insurance company and you work for State Farm, same kind of thing. And as soon as I opened that up, I hired my little brother, made him a loan officer, and then we hired his roommate O'Keel, who works with us, and we have a processor named Tracy out of Columbiana. So
I'll tell you the insurance people keep it really tight, because one of my good friends is George Passis over there at Mill Creek, and his sister has a State Farm branch with her husband. Like,
yeah,
there's something about that industry, man.
It's not even just I know my brother's a hard worker. I know his roommate O'Keel's a hard worker, and it's like I'm going to hire people that I know are going to work hard. You know what I mean? So that way you succeed, and it's keep your. It's like a king's court kind of thing. You want to have all your people around you, so to speak, and you know what I mean. And I hired the best guys you could, and the best processor Tracy you could. So
that's awesome.
But it's been super busy, super awesome, and it's also given us a lot of basically freedom to also do our podcasts and our hobby, so to speak.
So how did this podcast start out? What was the initial intent? What were you guys looking to do?
Well, I opened up my my branch in 2020, right before COVID. So it was like January, and then COVID hit. Hired my brother, and we're both like, "Oh shoot, what are we going to do now?" Right? So we're sitting around and trying to figure out what we're going to do. And we're like, you know what? We both watch Joe Rogan or listen to Joe Rogan. We both watch, the podcasts are getting bigger and bigger. It's like, what if we just do a podcast? You know what I mean? Have local businesses on.
Now, I didn't want your sleeveless shirt to give you away, or the fact that you're called the Bros, but I had a feeling that Joe Rogan had a part in his origin story.
It's totally true. I mean, we watch it. I listen to him every day. I mean, he's awesome, and you can kind of tell he's way smoother than us, but you can kind of tell our format is very similar to him, but it's my brother and I.
Yep.
Just because of that, and we basically, we were like, let's start. So we kind of just started having businesses on, local politicians, and it just snowballed into this Tuesday and Thursday thing. We make funny videos every now and then with different, like, I don't know, on our Facebook page we bought a giant billboard and we put it in Poland. I don't know if you ever saw this thing, and we reenacted step for step the scene where they saw the dinosaurs in Jurassic Park.
No,
but it's the billboard instead of, it's me and Isaac being the people that see the dinosaur. It's really funny. So we do that. We do videos with the dancing lady in Poland. We do different stuff to have fun too. So.
Oh yeah, I mean, you guys are everywhere. You're in city council meetings, and you're also doing ghost hunts. So we have one tomorrow.
That's really cool. We try and have as much fun. You know what? And it's like, everybody's like, I can't believe you do all this stuff and what you guys are doing. It's like all of it's fun. And not one time I ever thought, oh God, this sucks. You know what I mean? So a couple weeks, over the summer, we went to the Ohio Reformatory, which is a 250,000 square foot house. Yeah, it was nuts. And we're up till 3:15 in the morning looking for ghosts in this old prison.
That is a creepy place, man.
Yeah, wow. It was nuts. Yeah, tomorrow night, Friday night, tomorrow night, we're going to the little smaller version, but supposedly the Poland Fire Department, it's like a 200-year-old building that they remodeled, and it's haunted. And I have had all these firefighters like, you guys are messing with stuff you don't want to mess with. I'm like, get the hell out of here. And they're like, no. Like, the secretary that worked here for 20 years would hear stuff would get thrown at her. I'm like, get the hell out of here. So that's what we're doing tomorrow night.
Bring your proton packs. Have fun with that one.
It's like the holy water in a proton packs.
Stand back to back.
We'll see how it goes. So that's tomorrow night, and then we're still knee deep in the political stuff that we were talking about. I mean, I feel that's all we're doing every day right now until this election.
It is. Week. I mean, and so I got to say, main reason I wanted to have you on here is because you were so ready to take on this issue that had come up on social media. I forget who originally posted the letter. From I think it was Calhoun, or right. So it was his initial letter, and then also we heard about the meeting with the police officers through the grapevine, and that really started everything in terms of intimidation tactics on city workers.
Yeah, it's the whole thing, man. And it's like the farther you go, the deeper it gets. And it's like everybody's saying different stuff. So, I mean, do you want me to set this up? I explain it?
Yeah, because I'd like to give everybody a little backstory of how this all came to play.
So the city of Canfield is run by what's called a city manager. Yep. And think of it like superintendent runs the schools, and then you have the school board who is basically making the overall policy and decisions about sets the tone. Or a better comparison is a CEO and a board of directors of a business, right? The CEO runs the show. So that's what the city manager is, and the city council. So we've noticed, and we've been all over, his name's Wade Calhoun, since we started doing this, because we noticed things in Canfield that there were issues. Like, they have super high water bills in the city of Canfield that we've messed with. There were a couple other issues as far as they tried to pass a tax abatement for new houses in the city of Canfield, which, as loan officer, that doesn't make any sense, because Canfield,
just giving the money away, basically.
You're giving money away, and then the school wasn't getting taxed for it. And you start messing with kids, and the money that goes to schools, I'm going to be all over you, which we were. Sure. So then this past summer, we caught wind of a letter that was pulled from, I guess, well, let's set this up. There's the Public Works, which is the Water Department, Street Department in Canfield, that formed a union in 2019.
Right.
They have been negotiating with Wade, who is the CEO, and the council for over almost 3 years. Back and forth. So then this year in June, the union started to make moves. The national union started to make moves on the city to
send in representatives.
And they weren't getting anywhere. Right. So then the union, by a guy by the name of Mark, goes ahead and says in June, we are going to do these things, and we are going to create and bring up charter amendments to change the government in Canfield. There were 3 charter amendments.
Fairly bold for someone from out of town.
Extremely bold. Extremely bold. Charter amendment number 1 was to give the people a chance to vote out the city manager with basically a 50% vote
referendum.
That is a unique thing that has never been done before. So that is kind of like from the union a FU to the city of Canfield saying, hey, you're not gonna, this is going on, you're not gonna do it. Number 2 was limit the terms to 2 years from 4 to 2, right, for the city council. And then the third one was to not use and spend city government money on political personal stuff. You can't use it to politically spread stuff. So anyways, the union did this, and I truly believe it is because of the negotiations, right?
Well, if you want to look at it amendment by amendment, it's pretty hilarious because it's directly it's a directly related. Let's say that there might be how many instances and how many hundreds of years of public works people using company time for political motives. Well, it just so happens that one of them is directly related to this case. So it might be a good idea in theory. However, there is no reason, you're a solution in search of a problem.
Right, exactly. So anyways, the one that really fired up the city manager, Wade Calhoun, obviously is the one that said you are going to have an opportunity to get voted out of office.
And
right.
furthermore, because the change in terms was something that was actually just going back to old precedent, because it used to be 2, and then they changed it to 4 within the last decade or so. And
I was going to say it's like 2012, 13, something like that.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's a fairly quick turnaround in what they've already just voted in. But that first one has got to be what had him shaking.
Right. So him being the CEO, and this is where we have an email that was pulled. I guess they did a court subpoena. The union did a court subpoena. Did a subpoena. Grabbed. What was the word you said? That was Wade. That's the word.
The Freedom of Information Act. Yes.
Exactly. That is the word. Pulled all the emails, and they found an email from Wade to the city council admitting he pulled in the public works people who were basically part of this charter amendment, the people that were setting up this charter amendment, and basically threatened them with their jobs. Saying, and if you're part of this, you're going to be held responsible.
For the record, though, not that many people in the union there in Canfield. It's like a handful of people.
Six.
Right, people. Exactly. So this is all over that many positions, but it is the principality of things there, Smokey, as they say, so.
Well, and they said that last night. We had, if you could watch it on our Facebook
I caught some of it, yes, it was very good.
Yeah, we had Wade and we had the council president, John, on, and they said, well, it's only 6. Morvay, yes.
Yeah.
They said, well, it's only 6 people. And Isaac immediately was like, 6 people who have family, who have kids, who have been negotiating, who you're supposedly threatening, and they just kind of sat there and didn't say anything when he hammered them with that.
Right, because let's just say that union enrollment swells to 10,000 in the next 10 years. Well, guess what? It had to start somewhere, and those 6 people either were under threat or they were able to, organize
Right.
peacefully as they're supposed to be able to at this early stage. So
Right. So they have this meeting. He basically, and he admitted to saying you will be held responsible for, he said that, which to me is, we're going to fire you if you screw around with us, right? That's the way I would interpret. So then nothing changed. About a month later, the public works employees were pulled into a meeting.
This is the best one. This is the best.
Oh, it's unbelievable. Where armed police officers, not
in uniform,
not representing the city, however, that's what they were saying.
No.
Representing the police union, were told they're basically threatening them, belittling them, saying you cannot do this, you're going to mess up Canfield, how dare you. Again, uniformed police officers. And the problem is with that, Wade is in charge, is the CEO. He is in charge of the police department. He is in charge of that. Regardless of what goes on with the union, those are his people doing that during work time. That's the problem that I see there. So
and as many have said before, it's an optics problem.
Yes, it is an optics problem. And, we've had optic problems with Wade before, where we were kind of going back and forth on our Facebook group, Everything Canfield, concerning the water. And he got on the City of Canfield page onto our group and said, as the City of Canfield, this is not a place to discuss this stuff. If you need information, you come to Wade Calhoun, you call me, you email me. Social media is not
That's
not
a good move. That's a bad move. No. That's a Karen move. No. You'd be better off getting a burner account for that one.
Yeah, let me tell you what. You screw with me like that on Facebook, and you come at me like that, because Isaac and I took that as a direct whatever towards us, and we haven't laid off of him since then. So yeah, it's not something you do.
Your freedom of speech is actually just as important as his.
Yeah, he's a government entity. I could actually turn that into, that was a government entity trying to suppress people's freedom of speech.
Absolutely.
Leaning on it, which they're not allowed to do. So anyways, last night, we had, about a month ago, we had Mark Brooks, who is the union representative, on our show, and he was just unloading on the City of Canfield, on Wade. You could watch all that stuff. I mean, it was brutal. And I kept inviting the City of Canfield. I was sending them emails. I was sending them Facebook messages, all the things. I'm like, and my brother and I like, there's no way these dudes are ever going to come on. And then last week they said, hey, we'll come on your show and we'll talk about it. So then last night, I was
very surprised and happy for you that happened, my man.
Well, it was the best thing they could do. I mean, really, you got to cut it off, because if you don't cut it off, people are just going to keep making up their own assumptions and stuff.
We just have to look at how we consume things, because if this is the forum where most people are getting what they would consider to be misinformation, then they need to go to that direct source so that they can rectify whatever they feel is not correct.
100%. And I was happy they did that, honestly. And it was not, we were not mean, we were not bullied, we were very professional, but we did ask Wade a lot of hard questions that he answered good. We asked him, are you, obviously he denied it. I in no way threatened them for their job. I in no way did this. I know, and I respect him from coming on. And this is what we kind of ended it with. I think with this whole thing, the truth is somewhere in the middle, as always, right? I think you have Wade, who is definitely bossy. That's his job. He's a boss. I think he definitely pulled these people into, he admitted he pulled these people into a meeting. What went on in that meeting, we don't know. There's no way to know. But I'm betting if you got an email saying your job's at risk and this is it, I would bet money he pulled those people in and threatened them, right?
Now, and saying that, I have to agree that that's probably how it played out.
Yeah.
But when you look at how soft money from all the different corners of this country are being funneled into places where whoever is giving it away thinks they can make the biggest political bang for their buck. Things like having outside people, influence citizens coming into your town trying to dictate policy, just, basically stoking fires, rabbling the rows, and it's not your actual citizens doing it, then if you're a city manager, I would be really upset about that as well.
Oh, well, yeah, 100%. And we look at it from that point of view, from Wade, these outside people coming in. you have to look at it also from the union's point of view. So if the union pulls this off, right, they pull it off, they change the charter amendments of Canfield, right?
Yeah.
They can then almost use that as an example.
It's a template. Correct.
For any town in the United States. Right.
Well,
to say, hey, you're going to screw with us, we're going to change your charter.
Why would you even, I mean, I guess they're doing it, it's a spike tour right now, but they chose a really tough apple to pick as their first one if this is how they're starting to do this. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like they could have gone to some more union-friendly locales than Canfield, but you're right. If this does go through, then past precedent will say that they could probably take this all around the state.
And the other thing too is, regardless of if Wade did bully those people, right? Let's just say which is a terrible thing. You know, we were last night, we were blaming the council because it's basically like if you have a bulldog and you're in charge of that bulldog and it's biting people, that's not the bulldog's fault. That's your fault as the, you know, and that falls on city council is the way we were looking at that by the end of the night. But but the issue is in the future. So not even with Wade, any future city manager, if that rule gets put in place, right? That city manager is going to be making decisions that could then, when they go to make that decision, oh shoot, if I do this, how many people am I going to tick off? And am I going to lose my job because of it? That's right. I don't think you want that in a CEO, in a superintendent position. That, you know, that is an issue.
Listen, I mean, that's the whole reason that I have to actually defend Joe Manchin and Kristen Sinema in wanting to keep the filibuster alive. Because when a simple majority is the only thing that's going to keep you from getting ridden out of town, you're always going to be making your, you know, your decisions with something in the back of your head saying that 100%. I have to just do whatever the populace says, not what I know to be the right thing.
Correct. So, and as a city manager, sometimes you're going to have to make hard choices. As a leader of any position, not even the city, you have to make decisions that people aren't going to like. And sometimes
that's why we have to stress the difference between a representative democracy and a direct democracy, because a direct democracy is always going to be 51 votes out 49, and you're just going to be battling back and forth every election cycle like we do. We're trying to get rid of that stuff. So putting more clauses in that put more referendums in that, you know, bring people to decision making in the wrong frame of mind, that has to be shot down. So I agree. I mean, as important as it might be, you wait until the term is over, or if something is so egregious, then they obviously can be removed from office immediately.
Yeah, exactly. By the council, they could be fired. Exactly. Right. So I don't know. The only other thing that we had for Canfield last night, this is kind of a funny thing, was we asked who the HR manager was, right? Because if you have a complaint,
unpaid intern.
Not an unpaid. You want to take a guess who the HR manager is?
It's got to be Wade's wife, or I don't know.
Nope, it's Wade.
Well, you're saving the city money, you know, but he obviously didn't find anything wrong. That's what he did.
Right. So the problem is having Wade, and we actually left, and we were all walking out, and my brother was really funny. Isaac was real funny, and he just kind of stops us. We're all walking out to our house. He's like, "Can I give you guys outside advice?" And they're like, "Sure, Isaac. What?" If you do one thing and learn one thing from this, you need to hire a human resources manager that is separate from Wade. Because the problem is, let's say he is bullying these people, or let's say he's not bullying these people. If somebody files a complaint, they got nowhere to go. Like if it is happening, they have nowhere to go. And they're like, well, just go to council. You can't go to council to file a complaint against this. You know, they hired him. It
doesn't work that way.
No, so that was the one main thing we're like, yeah, you guys need to fix that, regardless of what happens. But the bottom line is, with all this, Tuesday, it's going to come down to what the people want. And man, I am really excited to see where this goes, because it has just been, it's been better than soap operas with all this.
That's what I was going to say. We've got our own local melodrama, and there are some real principles at play here, and it's not just about some piddly stuff. It might just be a couple employees, but like we say, these people have livelihoods, and it is about the principality of it all. So thanks for doing what you do. Keep it up. Keep up your real job as well, so you can facilitate this fantastic little side thing you got going.
We'll get you once we're out of these things. Let's have you on our podcast. You want to come on and come into the studio and hang out with us for a little bit, talk about you, because I don't know anything about you. One day you just popped up on a feed, and I was like, who the heck is this guy?
That's what we like to do. Well, I'm Youngstown born, Youngstown bred, but now Youngstown spoken.
Awesome, man. And how long have you been doing it for?
Well, I'll tell you what.
Look at me. I'm gonna start interviewing you now.
I was gonna say this could go a real long way, but I'll leave it real short. I did one that was called "Born to Be Mild," and it was pretty liberal, and it was pretty accusatory of everything that was going on in the last administration. And I gave myself a break because it was something that I prepared real hard for, and we did once a week, and tried to be real newsworthy, and it was exhausting. So when that election happened, I said, I am done. Yeah. But I couldn't stay off the mic for very long, and I wanted to do something local. I wanted to have interviews, with local stakeholders and people in power, and kind of like stuff that you've done. And I come in and I see you and the Youngstown studio, and everybody has a nice good head start. So I'm just getting into the mix right now in the local front, but it's been really fun.
Here is the way we've approached this, and I don't know if you've noticed, we are friends with Joe from Youngstown Studio, Youngstown Pizza Reviews. Liz, we said this for since the very beginning, since we all started doing this stuff, and again, that's why I was like, when you posted, I was like, dude, post away, right? Well, actually, I said, who the heck are you? Why are you posting on my Facebook group? And then I said, oh, absolutely, post away. Yeah. We are all in the same ship, and I said, it's the old saying, rising tides raises all boats, or whatever that saying is. Yeah. And it's like any sort of support you need from us, from Joe, from Lee, any of we all work together, man. So welcome to the podcast club, so to speak.
Thank you very much, because it is so important, man. I mean, we get more and more siloed in our houses and in our, friend circles every day. We got to keep reaching across and having conversations with people that we might not agree with, heaven forbid.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh my gosh. Yeah. Don't do that. I'll block you if you don't agree with me. That's the way that works on Facebook. So,
all right, man. Thank you very much.
I appreciate it.
No problem. We'll talk again soon.
See ya.
All right.